This video is brought to you by...
Man, we ain't hard to find, man. We downtown Baltimore, man. The heart of downtown, man. 215 West Saratoga Street, man. Come on through, man. Show some love, man. Yeah, you can't miss us. We out on the block with it. We right between Park Avenue and Howard Street, man. Come on through. Until you out of towners, man, you want to get with us, man. Come on through. Put this cool green on. Let everybody know, man, y'all with the city, man, that y'all riding with us, man, that y'all for us, man. Y'all support what we got going on down here, man. Because this right here, man, it's going worldwide, and it's coming straight out of Baltimore, and it's going to be bigger than Ralph Lauren real soon, man. It's coming straight out the city, man, and it's this what it is. And once you put it on, you're going to see what I'm talking about, man. This the real deal. Come on down, man. If you can't come through and shop with us online. Go online right now, man. CoolGreenClothing.com and shop with us, man.
What's up, YouTube fam? It's your girl, Mrs. Tony 2 times, and I'm back with another video. In this episode of the Baltimore Way, I'll be telling the story of Deidra Griffin, a Michigan native who took her child's father's life in Baltimore after a nasty custody battle. But before we get into this video, please don't forget to subscribe if you're new to our channel. Go ahead and click that notification bell to get notified every time we upload. If you're rocking with the content, smash that like button. Feel free to share this video with everyone you know. Make sure you watch until the end to hear the full story. All right, let's jump right into it. Deidra Griffin grew up in Bay City, Michigan. She kept to herself for the most part and concentrated more on school. Deidra was brought up by her parents and pretty much got what she wanted. After high school, Deidra joined the Army Reserves before continuing her education in biochemistry and molecular biology at Penn State. In 2007, all of Deidra's hard work paid off, and she landed a job in healthcare administration at the University of Maryland. While in Maryland, she was focused on her career for most of her younger years, so by the time she was in her late 30s, Deidra was ready for a change. Deidra decided to try online dating and ended up making a love connection with a Baltimore native, Lonnie Paye Jr. Lonnie Paye Jr. was born in Baltimore in 1963. He grew up on his grandmother's farm with his brothers. While they enjoyed their time on the farm, they were also responsible for tending to the crops and animals. It was a lot of hard work and dedication. With Lonnie's upbringing and dedicated work ethics, he would one day own his own successful construction business. Lonnie saved his money and bought a beautiful home in the suburbs of Randallstown in Baltimore County. As mentioned, Lonnie was a hard worker and worked very long hours, which ended up taking a toll on his personal life. Lonnie was married twice, but both marriages didn't work out, and Lonnie had no intentions of going for a third try. But his desire to not get married again didn't stop him from finding companionship. Lonnie and Deidra hit it off in the beginning, and Deidra loved everything about Lonnie. She liked that Lonnie was established with a nice home, nice cars, and a successful business. People who knew the couple thought of them as great together. Deidra would end up falling in love with Lonnie and moving into his home. Shortly after, in May of 2014, the couple would find out some very surprising news. Deidra was pregnant. Deidra went to get a procedure done a few months prior, which helped to correct her endometriosis, and the doctor advised her that she could get pregnant within 3 months of the procedure. Deidra was very excited. Lonnie, however, was not as excited as Deidra because Lonnie did not want to have kids at that point in his life. He was 51, and this would be his first child. He was used to his freedom and didn't want to be held down like that. The couple got into a big argument, and Deidra packed her things and went back to Michigan. Deidra reportedly felt like Lonnie wanted nothing to do with her or the baby. When Deidra left, Lonnie moved on with his life. But suddenly, Lonnie had a change of heart. His views on fatherhood had changed, and his family convinced him to have a vested relationship with his child, and advised him that he didn't necessarily have to be in a romantic relationship with the mother to do so. So Lonnie flew to Michigan in August of 2014 to be there with Deidra for the birth of their son. After the birth of their son, Lonnie was elated. And for Deidra, there was a glimmer of hope that her, Lonnie, and the baby could be one big happy family. Deidra made a couple trips to Maryland with the baby to go see Lonnie with the hopes of rekindling their flame. But after a few months, Deidra realized the spark between her and Lonnie was no longer there. The couple broke up for the final time in February 2015. Lonnie reportedly said he didn't want Deidra, just his son. But Deidra said that her and the baby were a packaged deal. After the breakup, Lonnie had not seen his son in a month. He would contact Deidra to see if he could see his son, but ultimately the visits just didn't happen. By March, Lonnie had decided to hire an attorney to take legal action regarding visitation with his son. Lonnie didn't necessarily want custody. His desire was to see his son on a regular basis and establish some sort of general arrangement. But Deidra never thought Lonnie was going to get any kind of custody. Deidra didn't believe Lonnie would be capable of taking care of the baby and that he wasn't equipped to do so. But the judge believed otherwise, and on June 9th, 2015, a judge in Michigan granted Lonnie visitation with his son 5 days out of the month. Lonnie was ecstatic, but according to witnesses at the custody proceedings, the judgment was a major blow to Deidra. She reportedly had thoughts that something sinister was going on. Deidra was reportedly convinced Lonnie paid off the judge. Reports say the judge actually put his foot down and said that Lonnie deserved time with his child. While in a custody battle with Deidra, Lonnie had began dating someone new. He had met his new love interest, Wanda, on the same online dating site where he met Deidra. Wanda and Lonnie's budding relationship was going strong. The two had taken a trip together and spent a lot of time with each other. With Wanda, it seemed like Lonnie had found someone he could see a future with. They became girlfriend and boyfriend, and things seemed solid. But all of a sudden, Wanda stopped hearing from Lonnie. On July 1st, 2015, around 8 p.m., Wanda called the police from her cell phone while standing outside of Lonnie's home on Travancore Road in Randallstown. When officers from the Baltimore County Police Department arrived, Wanda said that she had not heard from Lonnie since June 19, 2015, and believed something might be terribly wrong. According to investigators, Wanda pointed out that the grass was overgrown and told officers that Lonnie was meticulous about his lawn. The officers at the scene checked the mailbox and discovered that it had not been cleared since June 19, 2015. The unkept lawn and filled mailbox raised police suspicion. Officers were unable to find a way into the house, so they called the fire department to open the front door of Lonnie's home. According to records, while waiting for the fire department, one of the officers checked what appeared to be Lonnie's work van in the driveway. The van was unlocked. The officer noticed a garage door opener located inside of the truck. The officer pressed a button and one of the doors on the attached garage door opened. As the officers entered the garage, the stench of a decaying body overwhelmed them. Once inside, officers found Lonnie's body lying on the garage floor between two of his cars. His body was at the height of decomposition. The first thought was that maybe Lonnie had a medical emergency and couldn't call for help. Officers entered the home and observed no signs of forced entry or evidence of any type of struggle. Officers also noticed that Lonnie had surveillance cameras at his home. There was a camera positioned outside of the front entrance of Lonnie's house. During the search of the garage, officers located 4 bullet casings in between a wall and one of Lonnie's cars. Officers determined the likely cause of Lonnie's passing was homicide. Detectives arrived on the scene around 11:30 that night. Detectives obtained the shell casings found on the floor of Lonnie's garage. They were later determined to be 9mm casings. Investigators questioned Lonnie's current girlfriend. She told detectives how they met and that they had been dating for about 3 months. Wanda reportedly told detectives that she did not live with Lonnie and did not have a key to his house. Wanda did tell detectives that she had stayed the night with him on June 18, 2015, and left for work sometime around 6:30 a.m. on June 19th. She told investigators that she and Lonnie had plans to make dinner together later on that evening of June 19th. She told detectives she left Lonnie's place that morning on good terms with him. Wanda explained to detectives Lonnie was involved in a custody dispute with Deidra, who was currently living in Michigan with her and Lonnie's nearly 1-year-old son. According to reports, Wanda told detectives that Lonnie was awarded visitation. He was scheduled to have his first visitation from June 25th to June 30th, 2015, and that he had planned to drive to Michigan to pick up his son. In addition, Wanda said that she had agreed to go with her boyfriend to shop for a crib and other items prior to the visitation, because Lonnie, at his age, was a first-time father and needed to set up a room for his son. But when Lonnie did not respond to his girlfriend's calls or texts or answer the door on June 19th, Wanda thought that maybe she did something wrong and Lonnie was choosing not to answer her calls or texts. According to records, Wanda decided to go back to her house that night, which was about a 5-minute drive from Lonnie's house. Wanda told detectives she still continued to call and text Lonnie once she got home. Wanda said that she returned to Lonnie's house about every other day and still never received an answer. Records say she thought maybe Lonnie might have left early for Michigan to pick up his son. After receiving no response by July 1st, 2015, a day after Lonnie would have returned from dropping his son off in Michigan, Wanda told detectives that's when she finally called the police. In the days following the gruesome discovery, detectives began reviewing the video surveillance recovered from the front entrance of Lonnie's home. The video showed that on the morning of June 19th, they saw Wanda leaving the home that morning, and Lonnie left about 15 to 20 minutes later. Then the surveillance showed at just before 2 p.m. that afternoon, an unknown person entered the front door with a key. According to detectives, it appeared the person in the video was an African American woman with a size and stature similar to Lonnie's ex, Deidra. In the surveillance, the person was wearing a tan or brown outfit and a hat with a brim. A few hours later, the video showed Lonnie returning home in his work van and eventually entering the house. A few minutes later, the unknown individual walked out the front door carrying a bag of items, wearing a black glove on one hand. After detectives learned that Lonnie was involved in a custody dispute with Deidra, detectives flew to Ann Arbor, Michigan on July 4th, 2015. Detectives made contact and traveled with officers from the local police department to Deidra's house in Bay City. Deidra was hosting a barbecue for the holiday with her family. When detectives approached Deidra, records say she was cooperative and agreed to go with the detectives to the local station to answer questions. Deidra was forthcoming with the status of her and Lonnie's relationship and talked about the custody battle they went through. Deidra also informed the detectives that she had flown to Baltimore and rented a car on June 16, 2015, for an interview at Johns Hopkins University, but that she flew back to Michigan the very next day on June 17th. And had not returned to Baltimore since then. Detectives confirmed that Deidra did attend an interview at Johns Hopkins University on June 16th. During the investigation, they also obtained a copy of Deidra's rental car agreement, which corroborated Deidra's story. According to records, Deidra picked up a Jeep Cherokee at the BWI rental car complex on June 16th and then returned it on June 17th. As detectives looked at the rental car records, they found out Deidra had reported that the license plate was stolen from the vehicle. Detectives combed through Deidra's cell phone records and saw that she called a Baltimore area phone number days before the incident may have occurred. According to records, it was discovered that the number belonged to a storage facility in Randallstown and that Deidra had leased a storage unit there. The storage facility's access logs and video surveillance footage show that someone had accessed the unit in Deidra's name on June 18th, 2015, a day after Deidra told investigators that she had already returned to Michigan. Their surveillance video also showed that the person who entered Deidra's access code drove a Chevy Malibu or something like it onto the premises. The person in the surveillance appeared to do something in front of the car that led detectives to believe that the driver was changing the license plate. Investigators decided to use license plate readers that certain police vehicles in Baltimore City are outfitted with. The readers are designed to take many high-speed photographs of license plates throughout the day, etching each photograph with a time and location stamp. According to records, detectives entered both Lonnie's work van and the license plate that Deidra claimed was stolen from the rented Jeep Cherokee. They discovered that the license plate on Lonnie's work van was captured by a police vehicle near the intersection of Liberty and Marriottsville Road, not far from Lonnie's house, just a few minutes after Lonnie's surveillance camera showed him leaving his driveway. The detectives found that the plate reader also captured the stolen license plate at the same location within seconds of capturing Lonnie's work van. According to court records, investigators obtained surveillance footage from the morning of June 19th from a popular donut chain that had a camera pointed at the area where the license plate reader captured Lonnie's work van and the stolen plate number. The footage from the donut shop showed Lonnie in his work van at a traffic light, and just seconds later, what looked like a Chevy Malibu following closely behind him. While detectives were in Michigan, they paid a visit to a man named Martin. According to reports, Martin was Deidra's older brother's best friend for many years. During the detectives' conversation with Martin, he told them that around June 13, 2015, Deidra contacted him and asked him for a favor. Martin said that Deidra claimed that she had a job interview in Chicago, Illinois, but that her credit cards were maxed out, and she needed a rental car to drive to the interview. Martin told detectives that Deidra asked him to put the vehicle in his name and told him that she would reimburse him for the expense. Being the nice guy that he is, Martin agreed to help her. Reports say Martin gave detectives screenshots of his text conversation with Deidra. Records show one of the texts read, "Martin, thanks for your help. I need a mid-sized car from Wednesday 6/17 until Sunday 6/21. Let me know the cost and I can deposit the funds in a bank account or drop you a check in the mail later. Touch base after you get more details." According to investigators, Martin told them that on June 16, 2015, he went to a rental car company in Ann Arbor and rented a car for Deidra. Martin supposedly drove the car out of the rental facility, parked it in a nearby lot, and left the keys under a rear floor mat because Deidra told him that she would not be able to pick up the car until later. According to detectives, Martin took a picture of the car on his phone and sent it to Deidra, letting her know where the car would be when she arrived to pick it up. Martin later shared the photo of the car with the detectives. He told detectives that the rental car was a light tan Chevy Malibu. Rental records from the car rental company in Ann Arbor indicated that the Malibu was returned in the early morning hours of June 22, 2015. On July 20, 2015, detectives arrested 40-year-old Deidra Griffin for the slaying of Lonnie Paye Jr. A search warrant was executed at Deidra's Michigan home. During the search, police recovered a 9mm semi-automatic, empty boxes of 9mm ammunition, and paper targets with the name of a shooting range printed on them. According to records, detectives went to the range and talked to an employee who remembered seeing Deidra. He said that she came to the shooting range the previous October and told him that although she was familiar with long firearms, she needed to learn how to shoot a 9mm pistol that she had recently purchased. The employees said they provided Deidra with some training and reportedly took a picture of Deidra, according to detectives. Investigators also found out that Deidra had returned to the shooting range twice and practiced during the week leading up to when Lonnie was slain. Deidra's 9mm was tested to determine whether it was the firearm used in the crime. The firearm examiner was able to determine that the weapon recovered from Deidra's home was not the same weapon that fired the bullets or produced the shell casing. The weapon that was used in the crime was never found. After Deidra's arrest, she was arraigned on first-degree murder and firearm charges. She was deemed a flight risk and not granted bond. At her extradition hearing in August 2015, Deidra ended up waiving or not opposing her extradition. She was sent back to Maryland the following month. She was held without bond at the Baltimore County Detention Center. Deidra's trial began in June of 2016. Prosecutors laid out their theory and mountain of evidence against Deidra, including surveillance footage. Prosecutors told jurors that they were going to be left with no doubt. Deidra's defense attorney said the case was entirely circumstantial and told the jury that it was not his client in the grainy surveillance footage. The trial was expected to last about a week. Deidra was found guilty of first-degree murder and use of a firearm in a crime of violence. Months later, Deidra was sentenced to 60 years in a Maryland correctional facility. In April 2018, Deidra filed an appeal, but lost that appeal. Lonnie and Deidra's son is being raised by Deidra's family in Michigan. Wow, fam, what a sad story. May Lonnie's soul continue to rest peacefully. He didn't deserve to lose his life because he wanted his son and not the mother. In my opinion, Deidra's anger, jealousy, and lack of control over the situation drove her to do the unthinkable. Deidra's premeditated plot was cold and calculated. She really thought that she was smart enough to get away with it. It's really sad that their son now has to grow up without both parents. Anger only brings destruction. Fam, tell me your thoughts on this one in the comments below. All right, fam, that's it for this episode of the Baltimore Way. Thank you all so much for watching. Please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. This is your girl, Mrs. Tony 2 times, and I'm out.